The movie kicks off with a young man waking up in a dark, unfamiliar room. He's completely disoriented, unsure of how he ended up there. Looking around, he finds only a toilet and a shower. He panics, banging on the walls, hoping someone would hear and come to help, but there's no response. Suddenly, he notices a computer screen with a single command, share. Desperate to get out, he tries various commands on the computer, but nothing works. Finally, when he enters share, the screen starts recording him, making him feel like someone is watching. He pleads for help, but there's no answer. As time passes, the man realizes he needs to use the toilet, but there's no water. Feeling even more frustrated, he asks for water, and the computer replies with the number 5. Confused and helpless, he lies down on the floor, overwhelmed by his situation. During this time, he accidentally farts, which amusingly earns him points from the mysterious viewers watching him. The viewers seem to find humor in his every action. Using the points he earned from the fart, the man buys water and quenches his thirst. As he washes his face, it dawns on him that real people are watching and finding entertainment in his predicament. Wanting to earn more points to get food, he begins acting silly, but his efforts don't seem to be enough. In frustration, he tries more commands and manages to turn off the lights before going back to sleep. The next morning, the computer prompts him to share again. This time, he rants about his hopeless situation before deciding to take a shower, which surprisingly earns him more points. With these new points, he orders food, only to receive a bowl of dog food. Annoyed and unable to send it back, he reluctantly eats the dog food, even pretending to be a dog to entertain the audience. His antics earn him more points, but he's still unable to buy proper clothes. When he attempts to buy clothes, he ends up with female undergarments. Feeling both embarrassed and playful, he models them for the screen, entertaining the audience in hopes of earning even more points. After hours of frustration and hopelessness, the man breaks down in tears and falls asleep. The next day, determined to get more points, the man starts entertaining his viewers by doing gymnastics, dancing, and talking about random things. His efforts pay off, and he earns enough points to buy a t-shirt, a mattress, and even a toilet mirror. As time goes on, he accumulates more points, allowing him to purchase better clothes, shaving tools, decent food, and even alcohol. One day, after drinking too much, he gets angry and smashes the monitor with an empty bottle, causing a power outage in the room. In a fit of rage, he tries to remove the monitor from the wall and inspect the food hatch for an escape route, but finds nothing. His frustration reaches a breaking point when he punches the monitor, injuring his hand, and experiences a nervous breakdown, pleading with the computer to release him. After some time, the computer turns back on, and an older man appears on the screen. The old man introduces himself and reveals that he is also a prisoner in a similar room. However, the old man has more items and gadgets in his room. He explains that sometimes there are glitches in the system, and once someone reaches a certain level, they gain access to a shared network where they can communicate with other prisoners. At first, the protagonist believes the old man is working with their captors, but the old man assures him that they're all in the same situation, waking up in the room without knowing how they got there. The two men discuss possible theories, including the possibility that this whole ordeal is some kind of prank or experiment. As the days pass, the protagonist realizes that the old man never stops talking, rambling on about different topics, which seems to earn him many points from the viewers. This nonstop chatter irritates the protagonist, but the old man's method works. One night, the protagonist wakes up to the sound of the old man coughing. Concerned, he checks on him through the computer. While doing so, he stumbles upon the channels of other prisoners. His channel is number 14, while the old man's is number 73. There are various types of content from different prisoners, including cooking lessons, makeup tutorials, and yoga sessions. The protagonist is especially drawn to a beautiful woman teaching yoga. As more days go by, the protagonist and the old man become closer, sharing meals, talking, and even learning magic tricks from each other. They build a bond, though the old man keeps warning him that they can't remain stagnant. The viewers will eventually lose interest if they don't evolve and try new things. The old man encourages the protagonist to diversify his content. Following the advice, the protagonist tries his hand at stand-up comedy, workouts, cooking, singing, and even more magic tricks. This strategy brings in a fresh audience, and he begins to earn more points than ever before. He decides to use his newfound wealth to buy medicine for the old man, who is constantly coughing. During one of his purchases, the protagonist accidentally accesses the room of another prisoner, number 11, a woman who is showering. She is furious about the intrusion and accuses him of being a kidnapper. He quickly explains the situation, telling her that he is also a prisoner and had no ill intentions. Despite the awkward moment, they begin to talk. Prisoner 11 suggests they should analyze the system and find a vulnerability to escape. However, the old man is pessimistic about their chances, arguing that they should just keep entertaining the viewers. An argument ensues, and Prisoner 11 begins to question why they were chosen for this experiment. The protagonist admits that before this, he wasn't important, but now, for the first time, he matters to someone, even if it's just viewers watching his every move. Over time, Prisoner 14 starts a puppet show using socks, which becomes wildly popular with the audience, earning him even more points. He uses these points to send gifts to Prisoner 11, including a shower curtain, though she angrily rejects it, not wanting to be spied on anymore. Days pass, and Prisoner 11 grows increasingly frustrated with their captivity. She proposes a revolution, but both the protagonist and the old man resist the idea, believing that their lives are better here than before. The situation takes a tragic turn when the old man's health worsens, and he begins coughing uncontrollably. One night, he suffers a seizure, pressing his face against the monitor. In a panic, the protagonist and Prisoner 11 appeal to their viewers for help, but their attempts backfire. Due to a wrong command, flames shoot out from the walls, engulfing the old man's room in fire. They watch helplessly as the old man's room burns down, and his screen goes black. The tragic loss leaves both the protagonist and Prisoner 11 devastated. After mourning for several days, the protagonist tries to comfort Prisoner 11, assuring her that the old man's death wasn't her fault. In an attempt to lift her spirits, he performs another puppet show. Later, they decide to order alcohol and spend the night reminiscing about their past lives before captivity. As they get drunk, their conversation becomes more intimate, and they share a brief romantic moment, which oddly pleases their viewers, bringing in a surge of points. The next day, the two prisoners agree that the only way out is to unite all the prisoners and find the system's weaknesses. They begin checking other channels, connecting with fellow captives. The protagonist gives a heartfelt speech to his audience about the system's oddities, rallying support from other prisoners. Eventually, Prisoner 28, the yoga instructor, contacts him, expressing her admiration for his courage. Together, they work on finding glitches in the system. With hope renewed, the protagonist starts to believe they can finally escape. However, the story takes another dark turn as Prisoner 11's room catches fire, just like the old man's before. Devastated, the protagonist falls to his knees. But just as all hope seems lost, a door behind him opens, revealing a sunny day outside. Overwhelmed, he steps toward the open door, only for it to shut again, trapping him inside.